Hey good people, and welcome to the channel. Tonight is a very special night because I get to share my thoughts and feelings on the 2-hour season premiere of Ready to Love DC that just aired tonight. And let me be honest, after seeing this casting special, I strongly believe that I, along with anyone else who plans to watch this show, is going to be in for quite an entertaining ride. Let me also point out that throughout this casting special, many of the participants gave off many red flags, but it is my job to see this train wreck through and have a good time while doing it. So this recap and review is going to be broken up into 2 parts. The first part will cover the casting special and my thoughts on the casting members, and the second part will cover episode 1. Without any further delay, let's begin. The casting special opens up with Nephew Tommy along with Jason and Liz from last season of Ready to Love. And I must say, Liz is so fine that she can make her brother go broke treating her to someplace fancy like Olive Garden. During the casting special, Nephew Tommy introduces all the participants on the show, and he gets Jason and Liz to give their opinions on the participants. The first participant is Frank. He's a businessman who's laid back, but seems to be a good down-to-earth guy. He was in a relationship which lasted for 4 years, and in my opinion he comes off as a little timid. The next participant is Corey, who identifies himself as a body transformation expert. He has gone on 100 dates within a year's time, and he has deal breakers that would eliminate most of the women on this show. We then get introduced to Phil. He seems to be laid back as well, but he has the level of confidence that was missing in Frank. His longest relationship was 2.5 years, and he seems genuine in his intentions. Next is Shiloh. Most of her introduction is focused on showing her body, which is nice, might I add, but she shares that she's looking for a quiet, confident man. She and Phil may get along in that case. Courtney is next. Courtney is a 30-year-old woman who's visually stunning from head to toe, but she has a kid, which may be a deal breaker for some of the guys. She's attracted to older men, and she seems comfortable in her own skin. Camille is next, and she is visually stunning from head to toe as well. She's a teacher, but she's also a track star, which means she's been engaged 3 times and has been in countless relationships, but she always ends them and runs away from the guys. This is a huge red flag for me, but we'll see how she acts further down the line. Cornelius is next, and he's an engineer as well as a country boy who comes off as a little too nice in my opinion. He also mentioned that he's holding off on sex, which may be a deal breaker for some of the women on the show. Moomin is next, and she's the dark-skinned version of Liz from last season. She is waiting until marriage to have sex, and she wants spirituality to be the foundation of her relationship. If she has a mutual connection with Cornelius, then I see them as being the perfect match for one another. We then meet Aisha, who's been married before, has kids, comes off as aggressive, and is seeking a shy guy. To me, she may be a little too rough around the edges, and some of the guys may view her as nothing more than a good time. Walter is next, and he describes himself as a reformed thug. He was married before, but his wife passed away. I think that once the women hear his story about how he loved his wife, they will be putty in his hands. Tacia describes herself as an alpha female, who is assertive, very fit, attractive, and a boss. She likes to talk trash, and she considers herself a prize. To that, I say good luck, Tacia. Sabrina is an attractive woman who is looking for a genuine man with the big tallywhacker. She's a single mother and she's not willing to settle. My only question is she willing to personally find out if every guy she's interested in has a love muscle strong enough for her liking, or will she just hope for the best? Next is Dante. He has 3 kids by 3 different women. He feels that there's more to him than just being handsome. I feel that if he tells any of the women about the other 3 baby mamas, he'll be voted off expeditiously. Carrington is next, and he admits that he hasn't been in a relationship for 6 years. He has a kid and he prefers an alpha female. First of all, what man openly says he prefers a woman who's an alpha female? Yeah, this guy has some red flags coming with him. Next is Tyrone. He's never been married, he's been single for over 3 years, and he's given me every indication that I selected him to be a lock for elimination for the right reasons. He claims that he has trust issues with women, but he's ready to be vulnerable again. I believe that once these women smell blood in the water, his goose will be cooked and he'll get eliminated. Lamont is next. and he's into spoken word. He was married before, but he was cheated on, and he appears to be there for the ride. He hasn't said or done anything to convince me that he's safe from elimination. Carrie is next, and she was another participant who married early and believes in dating with intention. I think she has the best personality out of all the women so far, but the men may not find her physically attractive, thus she might be eliminated early. Libba is next, and she shared that she was unhappily married for most of her adult life. She wants a man who loves God, has integrity, but she also wants a tall man. To be blunt, she seems like a freak and she's also aggressive, which may cause the men to view her as nothing more than just a good time. Naem is next. He seems nice, soft-spoken. He's attracted to dark-skinned women from the islands, someone who doesn't wear a whole lot of makeup or weave. Naem, have you seen the women in this competition? Good luck. And last but not least, we have Tacia. She describes herself as the girl next door and meets a trophy wife. But when I see her, all I see is chesticles galore. But in her words, she's into medium ugly guys because they will treat her like a prize. She seems a little rough around the edges with a touch of hood, and she also has kids too. This has all but solidified her place as a lock for elimination. So after seeing the casting special and learning about the participants, I'm kinda tempted to change a few of my selections that were locks to leave or locks to remain in the final 3. But I'm gonna let it ride out for the end of the show. And as you can see from the previews of this season, it's gonna be a mess, but an entertaining mess nonetheless. So let's jump into the second hour of the season premiere. The second part of the season premiere kicks off with the singles meeting outside for a mixer. Carrington and Aisha are the first to meet, and they're followed by Sabrina and Tyrone. What I noticed about this particular season's premiere mixer is that only a handful of participants were actually introduced before arriving at the mixer. Some participants just show up out of nowhere, and it left me wondering how long they were at the mixer or what order did they come in. But the first connection worth mentioning was Sabrina and Walter. She immediately locks in on him, and later in the episode, they share a deeper connection due to their shared experience with caring for their mothers. It's a little early to see how far they will go or if they will decide to date one another, but we shall see. Another possible connection worth mentioning is that of Naem and Tecia. When they were at the mixer, he was staring at her like Precious eyeballing a bucket of chicken that she stole. I was ready to see him pounce on her like a cheetah on a rabbit, but maybe that will happen next episode. Frank comes in and introduces himself to everyone. Carrie seems interested in him. Aisha is also into Frank, and they have a one-on-one time and they have some chemistry there. We then see Corey, and he gets a little ahead of himself when he pulls several women to the side, asking for their phone numbers and asking to take them out on individual dates. Now, brother Corey, you should have did your homework before coming on this show. You don't ask multiple women out. That's against the Ready to Love commandments. Although it's a dating show, you have to approach the woman as if they are the prize. Failure to do so, they will turn against you and you'll get voted off expeditiously. So Nephew Tommy comes on in and he explains the rules of the show to everyone, and he encourages them to mix and mingle. After Nephew Tommy's announcement, we see Camille and Cornelius have their one-on-one. She seems to have an immediate attraction to him, and she seems to be a tad bit possessive. Cornelius frets about putting all his eggs in one basket, and in my opinion, he shouldn't. Lamont and Shiloh have a one-on-one. They talk, and I think Lamont's heart is in the right place, but he seems a little tense when he talks to her, and it may be a turn-off to other women as well. Walter and Tacia have a one-on-one. She seems pretty aggressive and attracted to him, which goes against her quest to find someone who's medium ugly. He shares his story of his wife, and he's reeling her in. There seems to be some flirting there on Tacia's part. Lamont and Aisha have a conversation, and Lamont identifies her as his strongest connection there. He gives her some spoken word, and she friend zones him immediately. Courtney and Cornelius then have their one-on-one. Courtney identifies Cornelius as her strongest connection, and their conversation seems to be more genuine and organic than the conversation that Cornelius was having with Camille earlier. Frank is telling a story to Libba and Aisha, and Libba shows that she's into him. Libba identifies him as her strongest connection thus far. However, Frank feels that Libba is a little too bubbly for him. Naem and Tecia also have a one-on-one. The chemistry that they share with one another is through the roof. Shiloh and Dante also have a connection. They talk about their West Indian heritage, And they also have a deeper conversation about their family. He says that she has a beautiful soul, and I can see their connection growing stronger. Corey later on in the episode was put on the spot by several of the women, and he was called out for asking the women out on a date. And let me dive into this for a second. While I don't agree with Corey's method, I feel that his intention was in the right place. A date is simply a time and a place where you can go to meet somebody and get to know them a little better. There are no rules to this show to say the participants can't date multiple people. I honestly believe that Corey should be allowed to work his magic and the women should make their decisions from there on out. Nephew Tommy comes back on the show and he asks to meet with all the men and the women separately. When he meets with the men, the majority of the men vote Courtney, Camille, and Sabrina as their top women. The majority of the guys also pick Tacia, Carrie, and Libba as their bottom picks. And wouldn't you know it, these exact women were in my predictions for top and bottom 3 in my predictions video earlier this week. When Nephew Tommy meets with all of the women, they pick Frank, Walter, and Dante as their top 3. They pick Lamont, Tyrone, and Corey as their bottom 3. The first men up for elimination came down to Corey and Lamont, and as expected, Lamont got the boot. When it came down to the women, Libba and Tacia were up for elimination. Libba gets the boot, and after the elimination, Tacia is in her feelings because she knows what I know and many other people know, that this show is a popularity contest mixed with a beauty contest, and the guys are going to pick their best option 99% of the time. Overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this episode a solid 6. It was entertaining and a bit predictable in some spots, but I'll still have to see another episode before I can give my predictions for which participants will be coupled up for the final 3. Well folks, this marks the end of my video. Let me know what you thought about it or the episode in my comment section below, and I'll be sure to reply to each and every comment. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.